Hey everyone, and welcome to 52. Today's episode is a game changer. I'm sitting down with life coach Remi Stern to talk about the real side of love, including dating struggles, marriage myths, and why improving your love life starts with improving your love of life. So, are you feeling stuck in dating, or losing faith in love, or just wondering how to keep the spark alive in a long term relationship? We've got you covered. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this one. And guess what? It starts now. Hey everyone, and welcome to 52, the podcast where we explore the world of dating, relationships, and personal growth, helping you unlock the secrets to a thriving love life. I'm your host, Kelly, a technology attorney here in New York, and today we're diving into an exciting and empowering conversation that will shift the way you approach love, whether you're single, dating, or navigating a long-term relationship. So on that note, in this episode, we're joined by a guest who's making waves in the world of relationship coaching and personal development. She's a life coach, a workshop leader, and the co-host of the podcast, You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband. Her unique approach focuses on improving your love life by first improving your love of life. Based in New York, she also hosts life coaching workshops specifically designed for singles. Some even integrated into speed dating events, making connection both fun and meaningful. So please join me in welcoming the incredible Remi Stern. How are you today, Remi?
Good. Thank you. And thank you for that awesome intro. I love it. I love it. So I'm Remi Stern. Like you said, I'm a life coach. I focus on relationships because I find the quality of your relationship determines the quality of your life. And if we don't know what we're looking for and we don't know how to maintain it, we're kind of in trouble there. So it boils down to your relationship with yourself and loving your life. And it's so much fun. I'm originally from LA, but I am building my life and my business now here in New York as I am building a family, and it's super fun. So yes, I'm here in New York, but my heart and roots are LA.
Amazing. Remi, we're so thrilled to have you here today to share your insights on everything from dating in today's world to fostering healthy and happier relationships. So Remi, are you ready to jump in and unlock some real life tips that can transform the way we explore, and experience love?
Obviously, I'm ready to go. This is my favorite subject in the world. So
Awesome.
hit
So
me.
dive right in. So you are the co-host of You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband, which already tells us that you've got a refreshingly real take on marriage. So our listeners would love to know, how did you meet your husband?
Ooh, I'm happy to tell you that. So, the story is interesting. And where I was at in the story is probably, no offense to husband, but the most important part, because I took a journey to raising my vibration, for lack of a better term, to match the life that I wanted to live, right? So there was a point in time where I was at this low vibration and I was receiving a whole lot of low vibration things. Raised my vibration by meeting a life coach. And within 6 weeks of being in my bottom to my tippy top at that stage, Jonathan came prancing in my life. And there was a story that I was told then versus the story I know now. But back then, loving my life, actually doing a dating cleanse, saying, I don't want to date someone until I feel really, really good about myself. But that holding back allowed for something to come in. Get a call from this guy I love dearly, who I went to college with, Jonathan's cousin. And he says, hey, I want to set you up with my cousin. I said, no, not the time. Circle back in a bit. But right now I'm just kind of focusing on myself. Thanks for thinking of me. He said, no. This guy is, kind of a desired guy. You don't know if he's on the market. Please, for me, one date. It's worth it. I really see this happening. So lo and behold, go on a date, baggy sweatshirt, baggy pants, like winter. I was a little late and I said, hey, what's up? And it's so frustrating when you're dating and someone says to you, when you least expect it is when it's going to happen. And I remember being like, okay, but I want it to happen. So I'm supposed to not want it to get it because it makes no sense. Unfortunately, there's truth to that. We could talk about that today. I go on the date and something just clicked and it was different. Now I know the story. My husband saw a picture of me on Facebook and he asked the cousin to set it up. And the cousin was just being a good broker for him and forcing me to go.
What a good cousin.
Yeah, Jonathan says you need the right closer to set you up with someone. So Anyways, we went on a blind date and the rest is history. And there was ups and downs at the beginning, but it was always on an upward trajectory.
That's beautiful. Was it, dare I ask, was it love at first sight when you met him, or?
It's a fun question to ask, and whether or not love at first sight exists. Of course, like, you can be attracted to someone and have that lust at first sight. But what Jonathan will say, because Jonathan is a little bit older than I am and had been dating for many more years than I had. So there was more than enough times for him to have fallen in love with someone. So I like to ask him, like, what was different on this date? And whether or not it's when he says when it's right, it's right. So another cute thing that he'll talk about is he was like, all of a sudden it just felt like the Wi-Fi connected. Like with every other girl, I was trying to connect the Wi-Fi, being like, okay, we have similar values, but this and this, and like, would this fit? Would it not? And he's like, we sat down on that date and the Wi-Fi just automatically connected. And so I genuinely felt something different in the air. Whether or not it was love at first sight, no. But the way Jonathan and I is now looking back on it formula is, when you're looking for somebody, do your values match up? Do your vision for life match up? And is there that spark? Because the spark is important, and it's very difficult to pinpoint what the spark is, but it's that feeling of, whoa, I feel really good in this space. I'm leaning forward towards you, not away. I want to see you again. I want to spend more time with you. And something feels very right here. So on the first date, I wish I had a video recording of it, because how much fun would that be? But clearly our values must have matched up, our vision for the future. And yes, that spark was there. And I remember leaving the date being like, oh my God, that was fun. And I liked that guy a lot. And I wasn't expecting it.
Wow. So was there like a moment when you were dating him that you realized, oh my God, this might be the one? This might be my guy. Was there like a moment it clicked, or was it something gradual and then you just realized, I think this is it?
I would say a little bit of both, of course. Was there a moment I was like, this is my husband? I actually remember Jonathan said it to me. At one point, he was like, he had met my dad for the first time. It was the first time he met my family. And I remember he was like, I thought I wanted to marry you before, but now I know I really want to marry you. And I was like, oh my God, he just said that. And it took me a lot to feel that way before, to be like, whoa, I'm in. And then on my end, I remember I was at lunch with a friend who knew this about me, who knew that like marriage, because I had my wounds at the time, like wasn't my top priority. I wanted it. I didn't know what it looked like, the proper type. And we're sitting at lunch and I was like, I'm going to marry this guy. And she literally like almost spit out her drink and was like, did you just say that? Like, what is going on? I was like, I'm going to marry this guy. And she was like, I'm cracking up. So, it's not like so like groundbreaking crazy. You can't know on the first date. You don't know a human being on the first date. You can't know on the second date. You have to continue to learn about them, find out more, try new things, meet the friends. Like, there are certain steps that have to be taken in order to have an idea if this could be your person or not. It could be a short amount of time. It can be a longer amount of time. Each person has their own journey. But then there is an amount of when you know. Lastly, of course, there will always be some hesitations. Like, it's a big decision to be like, I'm spending, God willing, the rest of my life. Some
people really freak out. Like, after, like, they'll start feeling the feels, and then they actually, even though they may want it, they might self-sabotage or like run for it.
For sure. And there was a point that we were starting to get close to getting engaged.
Right.
And we were pretty quick timeline from our first date to day of engagement was 1 year. So things can happen before you know it, I like to say. But I called my rabbi, who had helped me so much at this time. I did not grow up religious. I met this rabbi, changed my life. Here we are. And I said, Rabbi, I'm obsessed with this guy. Like, I like him so much, but am I marrying him? Like, also, here are the things that I don't know. Can I deal with this for the rest of my life?
Right.
And he was like, okay, so tell me, like, what are the reasons you're obsessed with him? I said, his love of life is unbelievable. He's got this spirit. Like, he is older than me, but I've never felt younger and more alive than being with him. He walks into the building, and I know this sounds silly, but like, the doormen are like, Johnny boy, like, what's up? Oh my God, I loved playing basketball with you over the weekend. And I was like, you went to play with your doorman and the kids? Like, that just shows someone's character. The taxis, like, he would be like, hey, what's going on? And like, his love for his family and all the values. I was like, I'm obsessed with him. He goes, okay, great. Now, what do you not like about him? I was like, the way he orders bagels or coffee like
Oh
drives me
my God.
crazy.
Come
And
on.
I was like, the way like this. He goes, go marry this guy right now. So there will always be hesitation, but the majority needs to, yes, be in.
No, that's amazing. No, the bagel situation. I mean, I know I personally, even at one point, I never said no to someone because of this reason, but like if someone didn't like sushi or something, like I'm a huge sushi person, it's like, I don't know. Like it's like
Yeah, and these are things that like, you take into account, but in the end of the day
yeah,
are
no, I
silly
wouldn't.
things.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and the way it was for Jonathan and I, well, we can get into stuff because this is like the top, but there's deeper things to it.
Right.
We come from very different backgrounds, just me being from
Mm.
LA, him being from New York. Like he would be in the back of a line of a bagel shop and I'm like politely waiting if someone like wants to go in front of me. I'm like, no, you go, I'll get around to ordering my bagel. Jonathan's in that line. We'll take a bagel, this, oh, and a coffee and a this, like screaming. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go crazy. And that would come up in different
New York
ways,
style.
New York
Yeah.
style. So it was real things that also it wasn't just the way he was ordering bagels, like it was different upbringings and
Yeah.
lifestyles and two different
And
human
merging it
beings,
together. Yeah.
man, woman, like so many things that were merging and learning about this person. They say marriage doesn't get good till 20 years. So there's a lot to learn about someone. And it's important to know in the dating process what marriage is and what you're looking for and what matters and what doesn't matter in signing this very long-term contract.
Yeah, that's absolutely so true. And thank you for sharing that. Actually, I do have a question though. When you did meet Jonathan, right, and you did go on the first date, even though you weren't really expecting anything out of it, what frame of mind were you in before you went on the date?
So that I would say for him, and this is probably typically a man thing versus women because we're different, and that's amazing that we're different. He was just there was something that became really ready for him, and he says, which I do believe him, it was the first time that before a date he put on his tefillin and said, God, if you want this to be my wife, amazing. Like I really, really, really would love that to be the case. If not, I trust you, but like it'd be great if this were my wife, which means that he was ready. So that's the place he was in. The place I was at. I'd moved to New York not long before that. It'd been a few years. The post-college transition I just find so fascinating. You've been like kind of coddled your whole life. All of a sudden you're thrown into the
Yeah,
workforce and you're
crazy.
working a lot more hours. And maybe if you're moving to New York specifically, you're going out in a different way and sleeping less and your habits might have changed and my own personal things happening in my life that I like to say, like I was already on rocky grounds because of things happening in my life and then trying
Mhm.
to like stand up and be strong and tall at a young age on this rocky ground. So for all of the reasons, all of a sudden my vibration, my energy just landed lower, lower, and lower and lower. And I was on this downward spiral and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I'm doing all of the things right. I have my therapist and I'm going to the Torah classes and I'm working out and I'm doing all the things. I'm applying to new jobs because I hate my job. And like, I'm doing all the things right. Hello, where are you? Like, where
Mhm.
are the things that I want in my life? And not to say it was rock bottom because I don't know, but I hit a point. I remember I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I don't really like you. I don't really like who you are. There was a dinner that night and I didn't go because I knew that I couldn't find an outfit that felt good because I'd gained physical weight, energetic weight. I was just like, I'm going to feel so bad the rest of the night. And tomorrow I'm going to feel even worse. And I was like,
Huh.
this is not who you are. What is happening? And that was the moment I decided I'm actually going to change. And I'd been toying with this idea of like finding a life coach because I was like, I'd done therapy for my whole life. It's very trendy in LA. I think like in creators go to therapy to talk about what? I don't know, but it's trendy.
They're all about it, self-care and taking care of yourself and all of that.
Yeah, and I have my thoughts and feels about therapy. Obviously, it's great, but I'm now in the business of looking forward, using your past to sprinkle onto your future, but I'm not about looking backwards anymore.
More like action-based now, like
Yes,
goals, like achieving goals.
yes. And meeting you where you're at now, deciding where you want to go, shortening the gap between there and
Love it.
now and there.
Love it.
And so I finally hit the place where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to invest in a life coach. Let's do this thing. And the first thing that she said to me was, you have this energetic weight and we have to get rid of it in order to raise your energy and match what you want, right? Everything I've said. So we cleanse things from my life. It's actually something that I always do with my clients because if you don't get rid of the old furniture, you can't bring in the new. If there's
Oh, I love that.
anything cluttering your life, thank you. It's one of my favorite
I
things. So
love
you
that.
got to get rid of the old furniture to bring in
Yeah.
the new. And, we're sitting here, we're like, but I want this and I want this and I want this. It's like, yeah, but there's something in your life that is not allowing the space to bring that in. So I stopped dating at the time. I was like, I don't want to meet my husband when I feel this way. When I'm walking in, I'm like, I hope someone comes up and approaches me and likes me, because I don't even know if I like myself. So if they like me, I can feel better about
Yeah.
myself. Like, no, I want to walk in with my hair blowing, my shoulders up, being like, I am the queen of the world. And they're like, who's that? She's my wife. Like, that's the way I want to feel. So dating, pause, which is counterintuitive to what you would expect for
Right.
meeting your person. I cleansed the way I was eating. I was filling holes that weren't like the way you wanted to fill them. I just stopped the chips and this and that. But eating from a place of enjoyment and love and life and all of those things, not from lack. Social media I deleted for a very long time. There were some relationships I had to cleanse, like lots of things I had to cleanse in my life. And like I told you, from the day I met my life coach to meeting Jonathan, exactly 6 weeks, I got a new job. I went on this upward spiral that, thank God, of course, life will continue like this, but it's really going like this. And I've been on this amazing upward spiral ever since. So like I said, I walked in the date with no expectations and a love for myself and a love for my life. And guess what? Love attracts some more love into your life. Lack will attract lack. Love will attract love.
I absolutely love that. And thank you for being a life coach now and giving us your words of wisdom. Thank you.
If you haven't walked the walk, you cannot, in my opinion, talk the talk. So I love to go back and be like, hey, this doesn't theoretically work. It worked for me. And my success rate is like, thank God, not because of me, because of the work people do, astronomically amazing. And so it works. That's the good news.
Love it. Love it. And, as a life coach, you focus on improving your love life by improving your love of life. So what does that concept mean to you? And how can it help singles who are struggling to find a healthy, fulfilling relationship?
So I would say, like, first of all, I don't know what we're looking for. So we're going out in the world, and it's a little over casual. It should be fun and lighthearted, but it should also be intentional. And so to me, if we're going to work backwards, knowing how to be married is super important. Knowing how to choose a partner is super important. But the first step is knowing how to be with yourself. And if we're hoping for somebody else to make us feel good so we can like ourselves, to feel good about our life, then we're coming from a place of lack and we're not intentionally choosing a partner. And this is a long, important contract. So knowing what we're looking for, great. And knowing how to find it means, okay, this is my chance to fill up myself, love my life. And by the way, one of my favorite things in the world is that we too often think, once I have this thing, I'm going to do all the things I want and I'm going to be this. It's one of my favorite things. So once I have the relationship, I'm going to go travel and go to fun dinners and feel, do all these things. And I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be settled. I'm going to be secure in my life. Switch that thing around. You have to be settled, be happy, be secure in your life. All of the other things you want, be confident, be all of those things. You have to do the things you would do if you were with this person. Be, do, have. That is when you will call in this person who will complement your life, make you feel whole. Under the chuppah, they'll say conventional wisdom, 1 + 1 = 2. On your wedding day, 1 + 1 = 1, because you are 100% yourself. They are 100% their self. And together you make a greater 100%. And
That makes got goosebumps. That was
I'm so
beautiful.
Happy. They said that under my chuppah, so it's fun. It's like I watched my wedding video and it's true that it's almost like ding, ding, ding. Like you get to the top. It's like it could take a millisecond, one small change to become that 100% of yourself. And the minute you're there, it's like, here's your person. So again, if you want to attract love, you better freaking become love. You better become that version of yourself who has the love. I mean, the love's inside of you. Someone else can trigger it, sure. But that feeling of, oh my God, I love you. And the streets are beautiful. And my life is amazing. That's all you, honey, but that ain't no one else. That is all within yourself. So unlock it, unleash it, and watch what happens. That's all I have to say.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So it's when you focus on becoming the truest version of who you are and your most authentic self, do what you want to do. Don't wait for X to happen, for Y to happen, to do something that will make you happy. Just go for it. And then once you go for it, you're literally, while you're doing that, becoming the happiest, best, most authentic version of who you are. And that's going to essentially attract your other half. That's all
Exactly.
it's.
And the good news about this work is that you walk away loving your life. What better thing could you ask for? So if you need to focus on finding someone to be the reason you fall in love with your life, so be it. Go. I'm all for like the reason you do it. But if you get to walk away with loving yourself, loving your life, that will carry you through the rest of your life. And whatever you feel before you're in a relationship, I guarantee you it's only going to maximize that. So if you're feeling lonely and down about yourself, trust me, the minute you're with your husband and he's either working harder or going to basketball at nights and you're sitting on the couch, like there's times where that happens, you know, and I'm pregnant right now. And so there's different dynamics with a husband, like things that we used to be able to do together, we can't. So he goes, and all the power to him. He should still do it. But if I were sitting on the couch alone and I hadn't kind of filled this up for myself, I would feel so lonely and empty and all of these things. They come up. It doesn't magically go away when you get that ring on your finger. Trust me. So doing this work before will change the rest of your life. That is all. And never too late. If you're also in the relationship, for sure do this work too.
I love that you said that, because there's a huge misconception that once you are in a relationship, once you are married, once you get to that point, it's happily ever after. And then it's like, it's done. Like, that's it. But like, it's actually the opposite. That's when it begins. That's when the work starts. That's when also self-care is even more important. It's nonstop work. But like,
it's so
for the
funny.
best.
And I love my relationships with people through Instagram. And this one lovely lady was single and she would DM me. And when I could, I would get back to her. And finally she messages me, oh my gosh, the craziest thing happened. I met someone. We're just married. She's like, but she was like, I have a quick question. You know, I'm feeling all of these things now post-marriage. Like, is this normal? Is this what you're supposed to feel? And I said, I was like, welcome to the work now. Like, you know, you're thinking that once you get married, it all goes away.
Not happily ever after.
No, it's the difference of falling in love versus standing in love, right? You're like, I want to fall in love. Okay, now it's all about.
I love that. Falling in love versus standing in love.
We have to learn how to stand in love. And it's a lot of powerful, beautiful work. And yeah, it's the fun stuff. All of it's fun. But it
sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. It's work. Good things take work, but it's worth it. And, you know, I'm actually also really curious, and our listeners are very curious. You host life coaching workshops for singles, some of which are paired with speed dating events. So what's one of the most common issues you see among people who are dating, and how can they overcome it to create more meaningful relationships?
Well, you know, there's a lot of, not issues, but meeting people from a place of lack, wanting them to like you so you can like yourself. And this happens too often because people haven't done the work. And where this will stem from a lot is, this might sound cliche, but is a lot of fear, right? There's a fear of unworthiness, a fear of not being enough, a fear that like maybe the universe forgot about you and it's just never going to happen for you. There are all these fears that come up. And the opposite of fear, anxiety, is not going to be calm and relax and like chill out. It's actually faith. So if you want to get rid of your fear, you have to move into faith. And I like to give people this like crystal ball analogy where it says, look into the crystal ball. And this happened actually. I was at a wedding with one of my dearest friends. She was hysterical. Oh my, you know, I flew all the way here and I was hoping that I'd meet a guy, and lo and behold, again, there's no guys. They don't care about me. They're this, they're that. And like, she just felt so down. I looked at her, I go, I want to shake her. I'm like, it's happening for you. Please look into this crystal ball and be like, I'm meeting my person. I don't know when. I don't know how. That's out of my control. Who cares? You are going to meet your person. Look, see it. You're with them. You're going to meet them. So what do you want to do between now and then? Do you want to be so upset that it hasn't happened and hate your life until you meet the person and just, or there's now and then. You're meeting the person. Why don't you go enjoy your life, feel good? Exactly. Like, don't stress that it hasn't happened yet. Be excited for it to happen, not scared it's not going to happen. So to have faith, to take control of what you can control, which the only thing you can control, sorry peeps, but is yourself, is your actions, the way you react to things, the way you feel about things, your thoughts, which by the way, you can do a lot more controlling of those than you think. how it happens, whether or not the date goes well, whether or not the guy likes you, whether or not you like them, poo-poo, who cares? It doesn't matter because that is out of your control. So if you try
Right.
to control it, you will lose 100% of the time. Take control of yourself. Build this faith in, I'm going to meet my person, enjoy the ride, and everything else will just unfold perfectly. But
Love that.
really just enjoy. That's huge.
I love that. So stop being scared. Just really have faith and enjoy life. Be present. That's fabulous. I love it. And marriage is a big focus of your podcast and coaching. What are some of the practical tips or habits you found to be essential for a healthy dating experience before you get to that point of the relationship and the marriage?
So whatever you are feeling, whatever you are doing while you are dating is going to follow you to marriage. You want to take a happy journey to get to a happy destination. You can never take an unhappy journey to a happy destination. So if you want to do the reverse thing where be, do, have, focus on the be and do. Be the type of person who is with a partner. Show up for yourself in that exact same way, whether that be, caring a lot about your health and your movement and your body and, loving that and caring deeply about it. If that's traveling the world, if, you're just being complacent in your career and your business, and you're like, okay, but when I meet someone, then I'll have the opportunity to go and do the things. Like, no, do not wait for one thing to happen. Do the things now. I also strongly believe in knowing what marriage is, recognizing that this is the person who you are going to fall asleep with every single night, wake up with every single morning, share finances with, raise a kid with, eat most of your meals with. Like, that is a big human being in your life. And if you don't know what marriage entails and you don't know the version of yourself in the marriage and you don't know the person that you want to spend that life with, then you are not intentionally looking for something. And no wonder we have a 50% divorce rate. So learning about what marriage is and doing the work to fill yourself up, you are going to go into a date and you are going to be like, I am choosing you because of these reasons, not thinking, oh my gosh, I hope you like me, and be the type of person that they're going to like. If they say they like blue, but I actually like green, I'm going to say I like blue just to make them happy. No, your most authentic self and showing up as that self and being like, take me or leave me. Of course, there's a dance to dating. You don't want to throw all the things out there and be like, this is me and I, are we getting married in this? No. You want to hold back. You want to be, as women, very feminine and leaning back, heart open. When I say feminine, I don't mean roles in life. It's energies. We all have feminine and masculine within us, but the more you can unlock your feminine energy, it's just the most, in my opinion, powerful energy in the world.
I love that.
So to do the dance, the forward, the backwards, but always being your most authentic self because you feel comfortable with your most authentic self, knowing what to look for in a partner, recipe for success.
I love that. And then what are some habits or practical tips you think are essential for a healthy marriage once you get to that point, or even a long-term relationship?
So the first thing I would say is to always return back to what makes you you. So it's very easy to lose yourself a little bit in a relationship, and this will happen at the beginning more so, of course, because you're so excited and you just met and you want to be with the person 24/7, and this is very practical. But the issue with that is the person that the other person fell in love with was a strong, independent, had the social life and the going to the workouts and doing these things, this whole version of themselves. And of course, your life's going to change. You're going to start spending more time with this person. You're going to be texting them throughout the day. Go, enjoy. Don't hold back whatsoever, but don't lose what makes you you. And the same goes for marriage. My husband, thank God, I would say probably the thing that him and I do best is that we encourage each other to do the things that make us feel us. And they're very different. So he loves his sports. I'm very athletic, but basketball, whatever. First of all, I have to pretend I care a little bit more than I do about the Knicks and who they are winning and beats and this and that.
That's part of it.
He comes and he's like, oh my God, can you believe that Bronson? I don't know who I'm talking about, but
yeah,
I'm
nodding.
No, I'm but what about LeBron? And he's or like y'all say something, he's like, they don't even plan. Like, and I'm like, shoot, I'm trying. But like, caring about the other person's things, but letting them have the freedom to continue to be them and being like, no, go have a boys' night, go to your basketball at night, have this freedom to be you, because then you can come back and be a better version of yourself for me and for our family, but also for yourself, focusing on those things, like being like, these are the list of things. I actually have a list, a written out list. I call it my loves list of things that make me feel excited. And this goes into having kids, because then you really can lose yourself and forget about where you are in this. Building in that time for yourself. And that's kind of the process of, you can only give to another what you are giving to yourself. In Judaism, they say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that's determined on how much you love yourself, how much you give to yourself. So not to be selfish, but the first step is find you, maintain you, and then in love, it's all about giving to the other person. So then there's that counter step. But if you aren't giving to yourself, how are you going to give to the other person? So that would be my best advice. What makes you be you, go do it. Never forget that. Early dating, mid dating, long-term marriage, God willing, very important. And also, last thing, to remember the things that make you guys you together. So it's very easy as life goes forward. And I actually heard that marriage doesn't get good until 20 years, counter to what we hear in movies, that it's like, oh, you got married, good luck with your sex life, and oh, you've lost all your freedom. It actually is said that marriage doesn't get good until 20 years down the line. So you have so much to learn about this person and so much growth. But something that happens is you might forget about that first date with Jonathan and I, where it was like fireworks, so exciting. We'd go see live music. We'd go to this place, and like all of a sudden you're tired. Listen, right now I get all the passes in the world because I'm giving birth very soon and I'm exhausted. So I'm like, Jonathan, post 7-8 p.m. I'm in the apartment. That's it. Don't even dare talk to me. Like, I'm on the couch.
It's freezing anyway. You don't want to be out.
So I canceled all my plans recently, and I was like, okay, they can't be. I was like, they can't be that mad. They're probably going to be so happy to be in their beds at
It's
night.
freezing. You're totally fine. Don't worry.
Exactly. But to always keep that fun in a relationship and remember what made you guys you. So the same way you're going to prioritize yourself and what makes you you, even write down the things in marriage. Like, we love to go play tennis. You'll have kids and you'll forget to go play tennis. We love to do this. We love to do this. So just a fun little formula I heard. There are 3 stages of a relationship. They say the first stage is love without knowing. The second stage is knowing without love. And the last stage, which is the 20 years down the line, is love and knowing. So when you first meet someone and you're in the honeymoon stage and all of this, like, it's meant to happen that way. Hashem literally plants that in you to be like, have blinders on and just be obsessed with this person because I'm drawing you into them. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. But you don't really know them. Come on, like, you go to dinners with them. I don't care how long you've been dating them, but if you don't live with them, you don't have kids with them, you don't share finance with them,
you don't know anything.
You don't know. You don't know you don't know the insides, the outsides, everything. So
right.
You love them without really, really, really loving them. A Jewish perspective is that Hashem actually takes that love away to make you work for it, to make you learn about the person. And once he gives it to you, he takes it away, you put in the work, that's when the real version happens. So there's that point in marriage where it's knowing without love. You're like, wait, I didn't know that you did this gross thing, and you blow your nose this way in the morning and you do this. Like, I didn't know this about you. Shoot, how am I supposed to love this about you? Yeah, lo and behold, this is
lovely. Good morning.
Image into marriage. But there is a point where you just start to know everything. And the beautiful part of that, it's in my opinion, the knowing with the learning how to love it. Like, loving all aspects of it. And that point that you really know and you really love is so special. So continuing to return to the things that you guys love together, but recognizing that even the parts that aren't so romantic and sexy, that if you work hard at it, loving those things, that next stage of loving and knowing is where the magic happens. I'm not there yet. I love my husband. I'm not 20 years down the line, but I trust that's it.
Amazing. And when it comes to a healthy relationship, or even the beginning stages of a healthy relationship, we're hearing a lot about people ghosting now. So why do you think it is that communication is at an all-time low at this point? And how can singles really develop that skill and be able to use it to help them in a successful relationship or even with dating?
So I would say a few things. First of all, no wonder communication is low. What do? This is
Yeah.
where we communicate. Like,
Yeah.
no wonder. And for anyone listening, we're on our phones communicating. Like, we use emojis to break up with someone. Like, we don't obviously know how to communicate anymore. And then also, you're meeting people on apps. If for better, for worse,
By the way, they're now putting AI to actually create your conversation. Like, to start your conversation, they'll create your first line. So it's like like literally deteriorating the communication aspect of a relationship, which is so crucial.
You want to talk about, wait, that's literally catfishing, because then you
right?
You fall in love with the AI.
Right?
Not
Exactly. It's like, what's
person.
going on here? I know. It's
so
terrifying.
We don't do the in-person communication, and moving into marriage, it's literally a skill to learn. Like, we don't know how to communicate, and this has been a huge learning thing for me. It's how to communicate so that the other person can hear you. And Jonathan says that women speak Chinese and men speak Spanish. Like, we speak.
Hey, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
We speak two completely different languages, and we'll come together and be saying the exact same thing, but we're just saying it differently, and that will cause like the world's biggest fight you've ever seen. It's like, wait, no, but you two, you're saying the same thing. Like, why can't you just get on the same page? So one thing in relationships is you always want to put you and your spouse on one side and then the argument on the other, where it's, instead of communication, that's you against them. The other thing I will say about communication in general is that, not that there's over communication, because there is under communication, but it's proper communication that we don't know. So if we're coming from a place of emotional wounds, or there's inner child stuff that I really do believe happens, and somebody triggers something within us, and we're heated and we're livid and we want to say something to them, and this would probably be a little bit more in those 2, 3, 4 months of dating. So we're getting to like the transitional time of it. But if we're communicating from a place of woundedness, we're not really communicating. We're just spilling out all of our troubles onto someone. If you know how to look inward and be like, what is it about the situation that is hurting me? Okay, how can I heal that within myself? Once I do, is there still something I need to communicate? If there is, great. What is my purpose of the communication, and how can we get there together? So a clear purpose to be able to communicate towards that thing, rather than just like word vomit. Of course, you should always be open, authentic, all the things, but there's something that should happen first to slow the process down. Lastly, for the ghosting, it's pretty much...
Ghosting right now is a huge, huge issue.
I mean, there's two sides to it. One, it depends how far we are into a relationship. There's a point that it's too far to ghost, of course, and that's just a coward. Sorry to call you out there.
What point do you think that is? Like after what date do you think ghosting is unacceptable?
Of course, there's gray. Each situation's different. Yeah. But Jonathan will say, because Jonathan dated a lot, so let's just go with guy behavior. If he's sitting on a date with a girl, he doesn't want to be like, oh yeah, no, this isn't a match.
Sorry, not gonna happen.
Like,
so sorry.
Yeah, like maybe to spare tonight and to like spare me paying for a meal, like maybe we should just even cut it now. Like, enjoy your glass of water. Like, we're gonna leave. No one's gonna do that. Of course not. And this goes both ways. I went on a fair share of dates where I was like, oh, what? No, this is not for me.
Trust me, I'm there right now. I've
exactly. So it goes both ways. As well as at the end of the day, he's not gonna make someone feel bad and be like, well, it's nice knowing you. But he'll be like, this was fun, maybe let's do it again. Whether or not that's perfect, I don't know. But he's not going to send a text. Some people do the next day being like, yeah, no, sorry. So if that happens, if you don't hear from the guy again, maybe in the moment I didn't realize this, but looking back on it, I'm so sorry to say it's not fully ghosting. Like, you didn't have that much to like have to give each other. It just means it wasn't a match. It doesn't mean you're unworthy and the person doesn't like you and what an soul. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you that's not your husband. Listen, you're looking for one singular person. The chances are that the person you're sitting across from on your date, that's not your husband, because you are looking for one person. That's so exciting. Look for the one person, and everybody who's not them, amazing. One more closer to your person. And you don't want anything that doesn't want you back. There's going to be times where you like them and they potentially don't like you. There's going to be times that you don't like them and they're working for you. But if it's the case where they're not texting you back and you wish they were, it sucks. It's not the best feeling in the entire world, but you don't want anything that doesn't want you back. The other thing about marriage is that commitment is the most important thing, being like, no matter what we go through, I am committed to you. So if you ever feel a waiver in the dating process of, I don't know if they're actually committed, like, do they like me? Do they not? There's a point where it's like, and you can ask them, like, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? And if they say, I don't know, that's a lack of commitment. Like, commitment is something to look for in any certain thing. And if something doesn't want you back, thank you. Thank you for that. And we move on. There's a point that communication has to happen. And I would say a month. That it's like, okay, I was expecting to hear from you. When I say a month, I'm saying 3-4 days. It's a complicated one.
Right?
But if someone really ghosts, they're a coward, and you definitely didn't want that person regardless. So
100%. 100%. And, just talking about like the early stages of dating, when someone does go on a date with someone, how many dates do you recommend they go on before they call it a yes or a no to continue dating?
Each situation is different. So there's two ways to look at it. Like, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no, versus if it's not a no, then it's a maybe. So those are completely contradictory. And I think it's case by case basis. If your values match up with the person, you're like, oh my gosh, we both have the same religious level, or we care for religion. We both care about, giving back or travel or family or whatever it is. But you're like, oh my gosh, our values match up. Our vision for life matches up. How we want to raise kids. It doesn't have to be so deep, but like, you can tell someone's vision for life. You can tell if they like want to move to Bali and be a nomad, or if they want to live in a certain place. If those two things match up, and there's some amount of, I enjoy your presence. Okay, there's something I enjoy. Does it have to be perfect fireworks? Maybe. I have to say, Jonathan and I had more fireworks than not, but some people don't. Some people, it grows. And I actually think that is incredibly beautiful when that portion of it grows and grows and grows and grows. If you're completely not attracted, you're disgusted by the person, there's 0% of you who wants to go back on the date, maybe don't go back on the date. But if you have some amount of all three of these things, I say keep exploring. In anything in life, the minute your energy starts dipping and it's draining your energy, not giving you energy, pause whatever you're doing, whether it's dating apps, whether it's anything in life. Of course, there's things like work or certain things that like you can't help with. And then when you have those things that are necessary that drain your energy, go full force in adding things that give you energy. So adding it in, right? Because that will kind of counteract it. But if seeing this one person or certain things are pulling you down, they are not serving you. So first, get rid of whatever is not serving you to lighten up your energy, to open up space, and then it can reach you. So
like, how many dates should you give it before you make your decision of like whether you want to continue or not? Because everyone always says, go on 3 dates, just 3 dates, just do the 3 dates.
So I really don't believe in rules for anything. I think respect is the biggest rule. And like we said, commitment, like if at a certain point, it is the point to have commitment and someone's not committing and not being respectful of your time or your this, like, okay, these are rules that should not be crossed over.
Right.
I also like to have a list for people of non-negotiables, of things that they can't accept. So like if you don't like if they're rude to waiters, like that's a non-negotiable. The first time you see it, if it happens, then it's like, no, I'm hopping out.
Totally.
There is no number of dates. So throw the rules out the window and focus on your energy, how you're feeling. Is it uplifting you? Is it pulling you down? In my opinion, get someone who's not biased to your situation to oversee it, and you can't go wrong there. You really can't. So no rules, sorry to say.
I love it. I love that. And to recap, what are the top green flags you should be looking out for in those beginning first 2 dates?
Each person's different. Each person has their own formula for what they're looking for. To know your values and to see that in the other person, because each person has different values, is super important. That is the ground beneath a relationship. If, a lot of people are like, oh, we went on a date and like we both love concerts, we both love skiing, we both love traveling. Like, oh, he's perfect for me. I'm so excited. And like, he was so handsome and blah, blah, blah. Trust me, if you marry the person who you both like going skiing, what happens, like for me, I'm a huge skier, let's say, but like this past year I couldn't ski and because I'm pregnant. And or what happens if you break your leg and you can never ski again? It's like, oh, she changed. She can't go skiing anymore. And you break up. Okay, so that can't be the ground beneath a relationship. If it's just because they're handsome, we all know looks in life fade. So your looks are they're going to change. The most important part is that values portion, the vision for life. So know yours. I think I'm going to repeat it again. Commitment, super important. Respect, super important. What are other green flags? To be giving and to be polite, because each person can be polite in their own way. So to see that they're giving, to see that they're willing to not change, but willing to improve in life. So if you ever give constructive feedback, they don't, shut you down and are like, there's something wrong with you, because in marriage, you're going to have to be like, hey, I like it when you do it this way, or whatever it is. So to be able to be open to improving, and sometimes that takes a second, like we can't expect people to be perfect at the beginning, but these are things that are deeper, the value stuff to look for. And again, when I say knowing yours, it's saying, is it really important for you to live a simple life in Anguilla where you raise a farm? If that is a value for you, exactly, then like you probably don't want to marry the person who is like the finance guy in New York who's never leaving. Like
Exactly.
the person who they want 10 kids because family is the most important person. They shouldn't probably marry the one who's like, yeah, I don't even know about kids, maybe one. Like to know what yours is and to make sure they match, that's what you're looking for.
I love that. That's so helpful for when, a single goes and meets someone else, and just really to have that in the back of their head. And I mean, when it comes to even speed dating events, and a single is out there meeting for the right one, you provide coaching services and integrate it with some of these speed dating events. So curious to know, how can integrating coaching into the actual dating experience lead to a more lasting connection rather than like a fleeting one?
So the irony is, we're circling back to the beginning. It has a lot to do with the other person and choosing someone, but what it really has to do with is yourself. So I kind of take people through that process, and then I'll give you like insight into how the workshop goes, because I'd rather everyone have this tool. I love guiding people through it. It's a very eye-opening emotional experience. I do it with different areas in life, but specifically for dating workshops. If you get very clear on what you're looking for on this person we're talking about, and you write down pretty much every attribute of them. Of course, you want to be open. If you say, I want tall, dark, and handsome, and blonde guy comes by, like, don't say no necessarily. But if you notify the universe and you're like, hey, universe, this is what I'm looking for, it's way easier for the universe to bring that to you. So we get super, super clear on this person that we want to be with, okay? We close our eyes, which is a practice that I love. I do it for myself every single day.
Eyes?
Well, I mean, we can do it, and we can totally
close my eyes. Everyone who's watching, close your eyes. Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
So we close our eyes, and I want you, and I do a lot longer, so I'm not gonna bore you guys with all of it.
My eyes are still closed, but promise.
Mine too, because I do it with you. So to take yourself to almost a scene in your life where everything worked out. So let's say it's for finding your life partner. Imagining being next to that person and see them the way that you want your partner to be, the tall, dark, and handsome, or whatever you want them to be, and see you smiling with each other. Maybe you're at dinner and you're holding hands across the table, or sitting on the same side of the table and you're laughing and they're hugging you. Maybe you're sitting in the apartment with them, cooking dinner on the couch with a blanket. And let's fast forward when you're really committed to each other. Maybe you even see them proposing. Watching them get down on one knee and feeling that excitement and that calm and that ease. Just feeling that love like wrap around you, feel it inside of you, that excitement, that joy. It all works out. It happened for a reason. Then I want you to notice really what this feels like. Get clear on which emotions do come up. Is it excitement? Is it love? Is it calm? What are you feeling in your body? Again, pulling yourself back to that moment, whichever one feels best for you, where you're safe and you're loved. What thoughts are going through your mind in this moment? Is it, wow, it all works out. Life is beautiful. Life is perfect. Think about the thoughts. And I want you to watch yourself through a day with this person. So maybe you're waking up in the morning, noticing what time you're waking up. maybe watching yourself brush your teeth in the mirror and what you're seeing in the mirror. Maybe you're smiling, maybe you're dancing and just excited for the day, going into your day, what you are doing. Are you going out for a walk? Are you going to grab coffee? Are you going for a workout? Maybe what you're eating, all the things of what you're feeling, thinking in these moments, and moving into your day, what you're engaging with, what type of work you're doing, what type of people you're around, continuing on with your day and just getting clear on even what this routine is like, moving into your nighttime. Are you the type who gets more work done at night, who does a bedtime routine, who's going out with friends? See what's energizing you in that moment and what you're doing with this partner. Maybe you're at, double dates or doing fun dates. Maybe I know someone who goes rock climbing with their person. Like, see what that nighttime is like. And then just gently closing out the day and what that day feels like. And just remember this feeling in your body. Remember what this looks like. Remember the thoughts going through your head. Bring it all back to the body that you're sitting in right now. Hold on to it. Feel it in your heart. Feel it in your stomachs, in your legs, in your arm. Smile, knowing that's all within you. And then just gently open your eyes. So that is just a tiny thing that I do, but usually it's much longer. I was thrown into it, so I kind of like jumped around.
That was amazing.
And
Wow.
so the point of it is you want to get clear on the person, but the more important part is you want to get clear on who you are when you are with this person, and that is what you focus on. Be that version of yourself. Do the routine. Don't wait. Don't wait to do the routine till you meet the person. This person that we just visualized, I do this every single day. I visualize the version of myself who already has all of it. And I say, what can I learn from you? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? What are you doing?
So Remi, it's not even just for a single to envision their partner. It's also anything else in life. Like it could be a job. It could be just like be after marriage. At any stage, you're saying it's very important to envision it. Just close your eyes and go through that process and envision it.
Exactly, envisioning it. And the more important part is feeling it, because your body doesn't know the difference of your eyes open and eyes closed when it feels something. And if we can give the body the experience of living in it with the eyes closed and every single day saying, I just want 1% more of becoming that person. The minute I open my eyes, I need 1% of change towards that direction. And I'm not going to open my eyes until I feel that 1% change. This person is your roadmap to what you want. They have the answers, this future version of yourself. Yeah, you're going to get there anyways. But if you want to shorten the gap, learn from that version of yourself. Learn to love your life the way that you're going to love it then, because why wait? Like we said,
right.
Do the things that version of yourself is doing. This is the being, the doing. And then I guarantee you, I've seen it way too many times, you will have the thing. So again, this goes for finances. If you think I'm unworthy of X amount of freedom of finances and X amount of this, guess what you're going to get? Less of what you want. And this is a cool one for finances. And it could sound superficial, but it's not, because all of this has energy to it. If you can imagine, I love this one, but like sitting on a number of how much you want, seeing what that unlocks for you and feeling that in your body and being like, it's already mine. You open your eyes, you are going to think different. You're going to feel different. You're going to believe different. You're going to do different. And if you change all of these things, you will receive different. If you wake up the same way every day with the same beliefs, the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same actions, nothing's going to change. You're going to get a whole lot of the same. So this is a millisecond of the stuff that if you start to switch and shift, everything changes. And that's why it can happen like this. And people are like, yeah, but I'm going to have to go on so many dates. And then by the time I meet them, it's going to be a year. It's going to be 2 years. And you do the whole timeline of looking forward of how you're doomed. So you can walk out of this call, turn the corner, and you meet your person. And it really starts with that inner work, and it follows you in any stage in life.
I love that. Remi, I want to hug you right now. That was so beautiful. So that's what you integrate into the speed dating event, so that before they start even going and talking with someone, they already have that vision. So they're technically going after what you just enabled them to envision.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And it's all about who they're being. Like I said, it's them. And if they show up in that way, who the F cares if they meet their husband that night? Because they're feeling so good about their life. Go in, flirt, find connections, keep yourself open. Love it. But like, that shouldn't be the main focus of a dating event.
No, go have fun. Your friends are going to be there.
Exactly. And if
100%.
you have that energy, first of all, guys smell it on you and they're like, wait, that girl like doesn't care to talk to me. Trust me, that's the one that all the guys are flocking towards. Also, the other thing I will say is smile, smile, smile. I see way too often at events like this, and I did this for myself. The shoulders in, this look, the nervous feeling, exactly, and that feeling of fear and unworthiness. I don't care if you believe it. Shoulders back, focus on it the whole time. Heart open. The heart is a really attractive thing. Put a smile on your face, and I can guarantee you someone's going to come up to you. And if they don't,
I love that.
Who cares? Go hang out with your friends. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as a woman, as a guy, your physiology really does change your psychology. So the shoulders back, the smiling, the open. And let's say for a girl, because I work with women.
Yeah, so how should a girl make herself more approachable at an event? Because what happens is when a girl goes with her friends to a singles event or a speed dating event, they'll end up being very cliquey and they'll end up standing sometimes even in a circle. So besides smiling and having a good time and talking with their friends, what could the girl do to make herself more approachable for the guy to come and talk
Fabulous.
to her?
So even just like recognizing that's probably not the best way to do it, and going up and talking to new people, and it doesn't have to be the guys. You can go up and talk to another girl or whatever it is. But again, your energy is going to have a much larger effect than actually what you're doing. So if you are in the space and you can literally imagine like a magnet to you, like if you do this work enough, you can feel your energy and shift it and be like, okay, I'm a magnet to what's meant for me. And your physiology of opening up to the room, you said this circle, no one, like, of course that's going to block someone else.
Literally like a circle, like it just happens.
So you could talk to your friend, but chest is open to the room. You're talking sideways to your friend. You're not talking. If someone sees your back, they're going to walk away. Someone sees your front. So just opening up, smiling, leaning back. There's something about like women with this leaning back where a guy gets to approach you and give them the opportunity to. You can also like do all the tricks, but focus on your energy and everything else will unfold.
Awesome. So, with the current dating issues going on, what have you found to be the biggest one problem in dating?
The one biggest issue I see is that people are looking for somebody else to make them feel good. And that means that you're going to end up with the crumbs on the floor. And an analogy that I will use is that when you are going to the kitchen and you are starving, like you could eat anything in your sight, and making a salad or sandwich is too long, you need food right now. What are you going to pick up? The bag of chips or the something just to fill you up. It's those like empty kind of calories, not that calories matter, but that empty thing just to fill you up, right? If you're going into the kitchen, if you're going too full, like you're overflowing, food's not going to taste good and you're already full. That sucks. If you go and you're like, I want this thing. I know I'm going to tell the universe I want it, but I'm not starving. You could think, what do I want? Okay, let me make it. You could sit down and you can enjoy it filling you up, but you're enjoying the process. That's the same way that someone should go into dating. They should know that they want to meet their partner. That's an amazing thing. If you didn't want it, we wouldn't have children and we'd die out as a generation, as a species. Like, you should want this for yourself and be proud in wanting it, but don't feel so empty and hungry that you will take anything you can get. Fill yourself up enough to choose what you want, choose wisely, know what you're looking for. And yeah, I would say that.
I love that. That was awesome. That was amazing. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. And for the singles right now feeling just jaded right now and they're struggling to stay optimistic and hopeful, and what advice would you give to them?
So it's really that moving the fear into faith. You can't do it by like okay, be calm, like relax, it's all fine. Like you have to find your own practice and faith. There are steps that you have to put in place in the right order and the right systems and all of those, because it's very difficult to do it alone. Like I will have a life coach for the rest of my life, no matter what, because each stage comes with its own things that you need to learn. So having the right steps in the right order to genuinely do those inner shifts, to love yourself, love your life, and have faith. I don't have a quick answer because there are things that have to go into place, but hand it over and say, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to put in for it. But hey, something greater, whatever that's going to be for you, I'm going to use the word Hashem. Take the wheel. You've got my best interest in mind. I trust you. Take me to where I need to go, to the best good, this or something better. Like if you don't give me this, my vision, I know what you give me is something better. So I trust you. And easier said than done. Put in the work and I guarantee you it happens.
Yeah. Absolutely love that. Thanks for sharing. And to wrap it up, for our listeners that are in a relationship or married right now, what advice do you have for them to keep that spark alive?
So a huge thing, this is probably one of the biggest things Jonathan has taught me in life, is the power of fun. And as life continues on, like it gets more serious and you get more responsibilities and you think differently and you behave in life differently. And it becomes heavier in a good way. You get all of this amazing weight that you have the biggest blessings. Like if you just think of kids, like it's the biggest blessing in the entire world, but it comes with so much. To bring lighthearted, young, spirited fun into your life will automatically always spark that joy in yourself and the joy in the other person. So to do things out of the box, it's also too easy to get into routine. Jonathan will say to like the uptown married people, go downtown. He sounds so
I
silly,
like that.
but he's just like, go downtown, book a sexy restaurant, go dancing, just you and your like go out of your comfort zone. Always, for sure, always be curious about life with the other person. Don't get too comfortable. Remember that feeling that you had when you met them. You're not going to feel it all the time, but just remember, like, know that existed. And yeah, do everything to recreate that with your new life. So integrating that fun and that spark with these miracles and blessings that have now come into your life. And it's not easy work. We're not perfect at it, but I'm very lucky to have a partner who pushes for it, for sure.
Thanks for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of 52. We hope you gained some valuable insights and practical tips to enhance your love life. A special thank you to our incredible guest, Remi Stern, for sharing her expertise and wisdom with us. From her honest take on marriage through You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband to her empowering workshops for singles, she's truly changing the way we approach dating and relationships. Remi, before we wrap up, where can our listeners find more of your work, connect with you, and sign up for your workshops? I'm sure they'll want to keep following you for more dating and relationship advice.
So I'm so excited to connect with everyone because that's my favorite part of this. My coaching is called Levy by Remi. So Instagram is my main place and I love hearing from people. DM me, do all the things. I build such nice relationships. And my website, same thing, LEVVI by Remi.com. And then lastly, the podcast, You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband. We've got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And my husband is hysterical and we have amazing guests. So definitely go listen there.
Awesome. So if you're looking for more of Remi Stern, be sure to check out her podcast, sign up for her life coaching workshops, or follow her on social media to stay inspired. And remember, improving your love life starts with improving your love of life. Such a powerful message, Remi. I love that. And to our listeners, if you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And as always, feel free to reach out with your questions or thoughts. We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep loving yourself, keep loving life, and keep unlocking the love you deserve. Happy dating. Thanks, Remi. The content in this podcast is for entertainment and is not mental health, medical, or personal relationship counseling. It is not a substitute for professional expertise and judgment from a licensed healthcare or mental health professional. You should seek the advice of a qualified professional when seeking mental health or medical advice to obtain a diagnosis or any treatment regarding your mental health or well-being. The content in this podcast may not be applicable to you and your specific situation. Topics discussed in this podcast may include information that may be considered sensitive or emotionally charged to some people, and therefore listener discretion is advised. References to third-party resources are for informational purposes only, and 52 Inc. takes no responsibility for the content of those resources. This podcast is copyrighted 2025 by 52 Inc., all rights reserved.